This is your boy Raylo, and welcome back to the Biblical Blueprint. If this is your first time, or if this is you're returning, I just want to go ahead and just start this off. I just hope that everybody who's watching this, I hope that it blesses you, and then it helps you build a better foundation for whatever you have going on. All right, man, let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about finding favor, all right? And we're going to talk about finding favor by studying Genesis chapter 5 and 6. Once again, the biblical blueprint, the goal here is to go chapter by chapter, verse by verse of the Bible, and to show you that anything that you got going on in life, anything that you got going on in your business, the Bible is your blueprint, is your instruction manual, and it can be actually your resource guide to anything that you got going on in your life. One of the reasons why I am doing this is because most people do not read the Bible. They will read bits and pieces, but nobody's ever read it through like a whole book. You know what I'm saying? Most people have read Harry Potter. Most people have read Stephen King novels, but they have never just sat there and read the whole entire Bible all the way through. And I was a person who was like that. And once I started reading the Bible all the way through and it started to bless my life, I felt like I needed to share it. So that's why we're doing this biblical blueprint. So let's go ahead. Now, starting off with chapter 5. Chapter 5, pretty much, we're just talking about the legacy. We're talking about we're going all the way from Adam all the way to Noah, and you're seeing how his bloodline pretty much connects, right? Now, one of the things that kind of goes on that I'm not going to say that makes you question the Bible, but you have to realize that the Bible is really a book about the Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? So we're starting with just the Hebrews. One of the things that I kind of see that's going on inside the Bible is that there's other people on earth during this time. You know what I'm saying? It's not just them. And it breaks it down because they also start to have wives. They start to build bigger families. And in this particular chapter, they lived longer. You know what I'm saying? You see that they was living in the 700 years, 900 years old. And, it isn't until we get to chapter 6 where we see the end of that. One of the things that goes along with the theme of what we're talking about is we're talking about finding favor. And one of the key things that we find out is that God favored certain people within this time period more than others. And it's not that there wasn't people that wasn't doing good. There were just certain people who just really, really, really followed in all of God's commands. And we find out about Enoch. Enoch is a very interesting character. He actually has his own book of the Bible that we will read very, very, very soon. But we're just in Genesis right now. So you find out that God takes Enoch up, Now, I'm just summarizing it, but once again, we're going to go verse by verse. So let's go ahead and just start with the verse, all right?
This is the history of Adam's family. When God created people, he made them like himself. He created them male and female. And on the same day he made them, he blessed them and called them humans. After Adam was 130 years old, he had another son. This son looked just like Adam.
Adam named his son Seth.
After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. So Adam lived a total of 930 years, then he died. After Seth was 105 years old, he had a son named Enosh. After Enosh was born, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. So Seth lived a total of 912 years, then he died. After Enosh was 90 years old, he had a son named Kenan. After Kenan was born, Enosh lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. So Enosh lived a total of 905 years. Then he died. After Kenan was 70 years old, he had a son named Mahalalel. After Mahalalel was born, Kenan lived 840 years and had other sons and daughters. So Kenan lived a total of 910 years. Then he died. When Mahalalel was 65 years old, he had a son named Jared. After Jared was born, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had other sons and daughters. So Mahalalel lived a total of 895 years. Then he died. After Jared was 162 years old, he had a son named Enoch. After Enoch was born, Jared lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. So Jared lived a total of 962 years. Then he died. After Enoch was 65 years old, he had a son named Methuselah. After Methuselah was born, Enoch walked with God for 300 years and had other sons and daughters. So Enoch lived a total of 365 years. One day Enoch was walking with God and he disappeared. God took him. After Methuselah was 187 years old, he had a son named Lamech. After Lamech was born, Methuselah lived 782 years and had other sons and daughters. So Methuselah lived a total of 969 years. Then he died. When Lamech was 182 years old, he had a son.
Lamech named his son Noah.
Lamech said, "We work very hard as farmers because God cursed the ground, but Noah will bring us rest." After Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years and had other sons and daughters. So Lamech lived a total of 777 years. Then he died. After Noah was 500 years old, he had sons named Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
We went all the way through chapter 5. Now, you know what I'm saying, we've already just seen pretty much just the genealogy of Adam. You see that they continue to just be fruitful, multiply. And this is just showing you that these are people who were obedient. These are people who actually came in contact with God. You know, they're the first creations. They're the ones who got to really interact with God. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that you can't interact with God now. And my goal is to help you create that connection. You know what I'm saying? But in order to create that connection, we need to read. You know what I'm saying? We need to read on how to create the connection and know how people actually had the connection with God and what they did. And then, you know, one of the big things that we're just going to talk about is just obedience. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't really talk too much about what all the descendants of Adam did. You know what I'm saying? But we do just get to the part with Enoch where we just see that he was just a believer. He was just somebody who lived in true alignment with God. And once he lived in true alignment, you know what I'm saying, he didn't even have to die. He was just taken up. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the few stories where somebody was just raptured, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, we go on and go on, and we find out that Enoch is Noah's great-great-grandfather. And when Noah gets there, we find out that it's pretty much prophesied that he's going to be the hope of the people. He's going to make things easier. And, you know, chapter 6, we're going to find out how he makes things easier. But you just see that when you start building your family and start building, you know, your legacy, you know, there is always hope within your family, even if there's something that's going wrong or anything, any type of family issues that you may have or any issues that's going on in the world. It's great to have children. It's great to build families. It's great to get married. And this is just what it just shows inside in this chapter, is just how they created beautiful families and beautiful lives for themselves. So now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to skip over to chapter 6, and we're going to show how Noah actually found favor with God. Let's get into chapter 6 right now. All right.
Genesis 6, 1-22. ERV. The number of people on earth continued to increase. When these people had daughters, the sons of God saw how beautiful they were. So they chose the women they wanted. They married them, and the women had their children. Then the Lord said, "People are only human. I will not let my spirit be troubled by them forever. I will let them live only 120 years. During this time and also later, the Nephilim people lived in the land. They have been famous as powerful soldiers since ancient times. The Lord saw that the people on the earth were very evil. He saw that they thought only about evil things all the time. The Lord was sorry that he had made people on the earth. It made him very sad in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy all the people I created on the earth. I will destroy every person and every animal and everything that crawls on the earth. And I will destroy all the birds in the air, because I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah pleased the Lord. This is the history of Noah's family. He was a good man all his life, and he always followed God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. When God looked at the earth, he saw that people had ruined it. Violence was everywhere, and it had ruined their life on earth. So God said to Noah, Everyone has filled the earth with anger and violence. So I will destroy all living things. I will remove them from the earth. Use cypress wood and build a boat for yourself. Make rooms in the boat and cover it with tar inside and out. This is the size I want you to make the boat: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a window for the boat about 1 cubit below the roof. Put a door in the side of the boat. Make 3 floors in the boat: a top deck, a middle deck, and a lower deck. Understand what I am telling you. I will bring a great flood of water on the earth. I will destroy all living things that live under heaven. Everything on the earth will die. I will make a special agreement with you. You, your wife, your sons, and their wives will all go into the boat. Also, you will take 2 of every living thing on the earth with you into the boat. Take a male and female of every kind of animal so that they might survive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, animal, and creeping thing will come to you so that you might keep them alive. Also, bring every kind of food into the boat, for you and for the animals. Noah did everything God commanded him.
So now we have read chapter 6. And we'll read in chapter 6. We see that pretty much Noah is coming into, we're learning the story of Noah, right? And one of the interesting things is, like, growing up, I always felt like Noah's Ark was probably like a longer story than what is perceived to be. But, it's really just like one chapter, one, probably 2, But one of the key things about this is just we see that Noah had favor. The whole world was just in sin, and God started to feel bad about his creation because everything was filled with sin. There were these Nephilim that were walking amongst the earth that were just violent, and just violence started to just overrun the earth, right? And the only person out there that God favored was Noah. And, him being the leader of his family, God is just going to favor him and his family, right? And this just shows you that, right now we are going through turbulent times, right? There's tons of people just speaking negatively, doing negative things, and just doing just evil, right? But this just shows you, and it should just remind you at this point in time, always stay with your mind on God and just continually strengthen your walk with God and do it daily. You know what I'm saying? I'm making these videos to kind of as a supplement, but you need to read your Bible daily. You need to pray daily, and you need to do certain things to help you strengthen that relationship with God. And that's why I've created the Biblical Blueprint. The Biblical Blueprint is here to kind of give you just everything for you to live your life biblically and become a stronger believer. I also have the Miracle Blueprint. If you have anything in life that you want to achieve, or you need to change something in your life, or just something that you just feel uneasy about, go to Raylo.tv and check out the miracle blueprint. I promise you, if you just do 7 things daily, and if you do these 7 things daily, of course, there's a couple other things that you got to do on a weekly basis also. If you do these things, you will create a miracle in your life, and you will see that God is real, and He is there when you are obedient. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that is going back to the chapter, grace is found in your relationship. The better relationship that you have with God, the more grace and favor that you will have in your walk with Him. You know, one of the things that we also see is that you want to build what God commands you to build. Once you start having that relationship with God, He's going to show you your purpose, and you need to build it the way He wants you to build it. It's kind of crazy how detailed the building of the ark was. You know what I'm saying? We do get to a point where we find out that the ark was actually like almost like a museum piece for the Hebrew population until they started to become disobedient once again, and it was all destroyed. That's why we don't have the ark. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of people do not dispute the story of Noah's Ark. You know what I'm saying? There's other people who all types of stuff, but sometimes there's actually scientific evidence that this actually happened. So, you know, one of the things that I just want to get across to you is that, you know, with studying the story of Noah, is that, you know, he was just, while he was preparing for this and just listening to God, of course he was mocked and all types of stuff, but he was preparing for the protection that God was going to give him. And you know what I'm saying? Just staying obedient. You just got to stay on the path. You know, it's very, very hard to stay on this path. That's why I said most people will not find this path. It is hard. It is not easy. Even though you think that Christianity is maybe the biggest religion, and it's just a religion, there's not a lot of believers that are Christians. I want you to just let that sink in a little bit. There's not a lot of believers that are Christians. You know what I'm saying? We just want to become better believers. And becoming better believers, we have to read the Word. And while reading the Word, we also just see how to lead in chaos. There's violence going on in the world. There's just all types of negativity. There's giants. The Nephilim are giants. There's giants running around. Noah showed that he was the leader of his family throughout all of this. And he just led them to the ark, did what God told him to do, and they were spared while everything else was flooded. You know, one of the biggest reasons why I am doing this is because not only do I want to help people strengthen their spiritual lives, but I also want people to become leaders. And I want all of us to become entrepreneurs, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? I feel that there's not a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and I want to help more people become entrepreneurial. This is one of my purposes. And if you like what you see, you know what I'm saying, because there's a lot that goes into this production. If you like what you see, and then if you go to my website, you like what you see, and you just like how I conduct business, tap in with me. I do coaching, and you know, I will show you how to build an online presence that will help you sell any product or service that you may have, that you may got going on. You know what I'm saying? I also I tie it in with just the whole life aspect of it, to where we help find purpose. You know what I'm saying? We're going to help start to do more purposeful work, and do purposeful work that's built on a solid foundation biblically. So one of the things I just want to talk about and just make the tie in is just that, you know what I'm saying, you have to look at a blueprint as your divine strategy. You know what I'm saying? God gave Noah the blueprint to make the ark, and all he had to do is just follow it. Just because they interacting with God differently does not mean that you don't have to interact with God. You know what I'm saying? You want to find your arc. You know what I'm saying? You want to find something that you want to build that will help other people throughout the chaos. You know what I'm saying? Help other people when they're struggling. You know what I'm saying? Just because, say, if we're going to do a food business, right? That doesn't mean that you're not helping people, because you can help people out when they're hungry. You never know. Food changes a lot for people. You know what I'm saying? I just bring that up because I was a cook at one point in time. You know, my dad, he's a process server. We laugh because he has so many stories about how he helped this woman who was being abused, and he ended up serving a subpoena on her abuser, or this person was running away from not paying these certain people and they needed their money, and my dad went and helped these people out. That is literally my dad's purpose in life, and I helped him build a stronger business digitally, and that's what I'm here to help you. You know what I'm saying? And it's just you start serving your purpose, for you can handle anything in life and help other people. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have more purposeful work. You know, one of the things that you can apply is, once again, always walk with God daily. Pray, read your Bible, and start to follow his commands. Read about his commands. Follow his commands and see how your life will change. Once again, if you go to raylo.tv and follow the miracle blueprint, and it will show you a clear cut fast. If you just go on 40 days, you'll see God moving your life. You know, one of the things I just want to end on is just the leadership aspect. Noah was one of the, he was the first leader in the Bible, and led us through the flood. You know what I'm saying? Follow God, and he led by example. He ended up getting favor, and you can just take that and apply it to your life. How can I get favor from God? And what am I doing that is disobedient from God, that I'll be able to create a more purposeful and a more stronger leadership position for myself? You know what I'm saying? That's my prayer for myself and for anybody who's watching it. If you already got to the end, I thank you so much for watching this. This is the Biblical Blueprint. Once again, we'll go to raylo.tv. Check out my website. Check out the Miracle Blueprint. And if you want to join my coaching community, where we're building better believers in business, go ahead, contact me, and let's go ahead and let's get started. This is the Biblical Blueprint. My name is Raylo. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again.